This is Lions on Tap, a weekly look inside the Lions Den. Highlights, interviews, and a look ahead to what's next for the Leos. Now, here are your hosts, Matt Baker, Nick Kowalski, and Bob the Mojmar Janovich.
Welcome to BC Lions on Tap, coming to you on AM 730, the Lions Radio Network, presented by Play Now Sports. Of course, we are coming to you tonight from the Tap House Pub and Grill in Coquitlam, and it's the Moj, of course, along with Matt Baker, Nick Kowalski from the Lions Audio Network. Our special guest tonight will be Lions kicker Shaun Whyte. But gentlemen, before we get Shaun on board, welcome. Nice to have you back for yet another week.
Yeah, great to be here. Great to be at the Tap House Coquitlam. Did Tap House Guildford a couple weeks ago, and yeah, I love doing this, making the rounds around the Lower Mainland. It's awesome. Yeah,
and you know, we're coming here tonight, and if you're in the neighborhood, pop on by. We do have some tickets that we'll give away to the upcoming game against the Hamilton Tiger Cats Saturday at BC Place Stadium. And, of course, we will talk to Shaun Whyte in a couple of seconds. But before we get to Shaun, gentlemen, let's talk a little bit about what happened in Saskatchewan. A disappointing 34-29 loss to the Rough Riders. Good news, bad news. You know, I wrote about this in my column for Black Press today, fellas. And, you know, head coach Rick Campbell always talks about starting off fast and staying away from negative plays. Both of those were not accomplished in Saskatchewan on Sunday.
Yeah, definitely not the start they wanted. The fumble recovery, and tell you what, you give a guy in Jake Dolagala, all due respect to him, he played great at the end of the day, but you give him a bit of a lifeline at the start, 25, 30 yards short field, and you're playing catch up all night. But going into that one, we knew it was going to be tough. I mean, Saskatchewan had to have that game really to sort of stay in the hunt for this top three spot in the West. This Lions team still in good shape, 4-point advantage on second place with another meeting to come. But knew we were going into a hornet's nest, and Saskatchewan just took advantage of a few key plays.
You know, the one thing that you did like about this team, Nick Kowalski, is the fact that, you know, they did battle back. And I mean, man, oh man, so close. If Keon Hatcher would have been able to haul that pass in the end zone, who knows? I mean, they could have taken the lead on that one play, and not to specifically, you know, blame Keon or anything, but that's just how close they were. But you got to love the fight and resolve that they had in that game.
Yeah, unfortunately, there's a lot of what-ifs in that game, just with how close the comeback came. But I think if you want to be the glass-half-full perspective is that, yeah, they did make a comeback. They did fight in the second half, never gave up. And then from Vernon Adams Jr.'s perspective, he's banged up in the second half, resilient as they come, throws for almost 500 yards. And you look back at maybe that week 3 game in Toronto, or week 4 game in Toronto, where the team got in a hole, didn't come out of it, and Vernon Adams ultimately throws 6 picks. This time around, he's slinging it, scoring, and it worked.
Yeah, but they still turned over the football 5 times. So here's the thing, though. Like, anytime you're -5 in the turnover department, you should be losing a game by 3 touchdowns. And I'm just being honest. I mean, they were -5, and they still wound up losing by 5. So to me, it kind of bodes well in the sense if they can just clean it up next time around against Saskatchewan. And same thing with Toronto. Hopefully we get to meet them in the Grey Cup, because that will be the next time against Toronto if they indeed play each other again this year. But it was a tough night. But hey, you know, you're not going to win them all. It is professional football, and you have to move on. And now you got the Hamilton Tiger Cats coming up Saturday at BC Place Stadium. Hopefully rebound and get it done. All right, our guest tonight here at the Tap House in Coquitlam is none other than Lions kicker Shaun Whyte, the veteran. Nice to have you on board, Whyte.
Why'd you have to?
Oh, look at this. He even brought his own fan club.
Yeah, they showed up. It's real.
You just had to add the veteran part, eh?
Yeah.
That's really nice.
Well, I could have said 37-year-old, but I stayed away from that. Nice to see that you brought your entire family here tonight.
Yeah, my fiance?
Well, I'm just thinking everybody there that's clapping.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you can see we're all look very relatable.
Yeah. All right. Enough of the comedy hour. Just your thoughts on what happened in Saskatchewan.
Well, you guys covered it pretty good. Sports, man, it just wasn't our night. Nothing went our way. Keon, could have saved the day with one catch, but it's a game of what ifs. There's so many things that could have happened that could have bailed us out. You know, it's just how she goes. I don't even know how to explain it, but I'm. If you want to look at again the positives, You look at a team like a Calgary or Winnipeg that won out all season long. They get to the Grey Cup and they don't come out with it. They never faced any adversity. We are a good team. We are a Grey Cup team. The only people that can beat us is us, and that's exactly what we did.
Yeah.
It's exactly what we did. But the 5 turnovers, yeah, and no one's more mad at themselves than those guys that made those mistakes. So I love the learning lesson a part of this, because you know how we practice. You see us every week. These guys ball out every single day. It's like they're playing a game. So they take that as a learning lesson, and they're going to go into next week with a little fire in their butts, and they're gonna go off like they usually do.
I think you nailed something, and it's about going through adversity during the course of the year, because if you don't face it and all of a sudden you face it in the playoffs, you're like, what the hell's going on? And to me, like a classic example this year, even though it's apples to oranges, the Boston Bruins. I mean, they cakewalk through the season, and they get into the playoffs, and all of a sudden they've got this adversity. Well, how do you react now, right?
Yeah.
And I know from like my personal experience, I'll tell you a little story from junior football. I was with the Richmond Raiders one year. We cakewalked through the entire season. I think we allowed 3 touchdowns the entire year, and all of that to Okanagan. I mean, we were beating Renfrew like 78-0. The Marilyn was like 82-0. We played the Regina Rams in a playoff game at Minaroo. Basically, it's the Canadian Championship. They beat Burlington the next week like 73-0 or something. And they hung like 28 on us at halftime. And like, we don't know what the hell's going on. And that's the thing, because we never went through that adversity. And when you have a team that doesn't go through that adversity, doesn't know what it's like, it could be really challenging, and it could cost you at the most critical time of the year.
Exactly, and we're going to get through the depth, and it shows off the depth that we have, because we're still in these games. We're beaten up, like you said, but we have a lot of guys that are showing up. And, you know, even when Vern went down for a few plays, you got Dom going in there, and he just looks like now he's comfortable. He's had those reps. He's had that game experience. Now we got Dayton Evans. We got 3 starting quarterbacks on the roster. So when it comes down to it, if anything were to happen coming to the playoff time, we're going to have a stud quarterback in there. And as long as it's just like hockey, if you have a hot goalie at the right time in the playoffs, you're going to win out. If we have a hot quarterback and we are healthy, we are going to be just great.
I'm going to throw this question to Matt and Nick, and then I'm going to go to Sean with it. But guys, just the emotion down on field level in Saskatchewan, not only with the crowd and the environment, but the comeback as well, and the emotion with that comeback. And I'll start with you, Matt.
Yeah, guys never giving up. I think it was Gary Peters and a couple of the defensive backs, even in the fourth quarter when it got to 31-13. Keep fighting. One big play, we're back in this thing. And that's what you admire, just the demeanor and how the guys handle themselves.
And Nick, how did you see it?
Yeah.
Well, it's very intense, and that atmosphere, it's no joke to even get plays off on offense when the crowd is roaring under you. I thought that was maybe the most physical game I've seen in these past 2 years. I don't know if you agree with me on that in terms of the chippiness. There were individual battles going on. Like I think of Sione Tuihema, Colin Kelly, Gary Peters, Sam Emelis, like all game.
After the whistle stuff.
Yeah, it was just a classic West CFL game.
Okay, so this is the point that I want to lead into with Sean, is that as players, you know, Coach Campbell talks about it. He wants you to be even keeled at the same time, play with a lot of emotion. As a kicker, though, how difficult is it not to get caught up in the emotion, because they always talk about the fact that you have to have ice in your veins and be even keel when you go out there and have to hit a big kick.
Yeah, and I did struggle with that, because I don't want to say certain things because I don't want to get fined, but there was things weren't getting called sometimes, and I was getting upset, and and just, again, things weren't going our way, and there was some heavy hits and some hits I didn't agree with, and I'm just like, I'm getting mad, but then I do literally have to tell myself and talk to myself, all you do is kick a ball, man. You got to chill out. And I say that same thing to Pickett, because Pickett gets he's a D lineman at heart. So, hey, man, don't get too high, don't get too low. Let's stay right here. We got to focus on what we got to do, because the way this game is going right now, I'm going to have to kick a game winner, and we're going to need you. So let's focus on what we have to do.
All right, we're going to take a quick break. More with Lions kicker Sean Whyte. We're coming to you from the Tap House in Coquitlam. If you're in the neighborhood, pop on by. You're listening to BC Lions on Tap on AM 730 and the Lions Audio Network.
Now, back to Lions on Tap. Here again is Bob Marjanovic.
You're listening to BC Lions on Tap on AM 730 and the Lions Audio Network. It's the Moj, Bob Marjanovic, along with Matt Baker and Nick Kowalski from the Lions Audio Network, coming to you from the Tap House in Coquitlam. Our special guest tonight is Lions kicker Sean Whyte. Before we move along and talk a little bit more about, the game against Hamilton, let's talk a little bit about your season this year, and you've had a great year. And I'm not going to mention what type of heater you're on, because obviously we don't want to jinx you, but What's it mean to you? As he gives me a funny look. What's it mean to you to get 11 points in the last game and tie Trevor Kennard for 11th in CFL scoring?
I didn't know that till now, but that's pretty cool. I think it shows my age more than anything. Glad you agree. No, but it's to be able to play as long as I have is truly a blessing, and I'm very lucky. I've been cut, traded, all sorts of things, and I'm still around. I'm still here, and I'm truly blessed. And I don't know, man. It's just I'm always on good teams with good holders and snappers, so they make me look good.
Was there ever a time, I guess earlier in your career, where you kind of said, enough of this?
Yeah, Montreal, in my last few years in Montreal, I'd say that was kind of the case. I had a new coaching staff that didn't know me when Trestman left the Chicago Bears. We had a new coaching staff coming from the States. It was all American coaches, and they basically looked me up from head to toe and said, I don't see how a guy who's 5'8" can punt, kick off, and kick field goals and last an 18-game season. So I want you to know your job is up for grabs every week. So when I'm walking off the practice field, they have an American guy coming on the field to work out for my job. And I was an all-star in the East that year for field goals. So it was one of the most stressful times of my life, and I didn't know if I wanted to do it anymore. And then we had a few bad years in 14 and 15. And they had BD in 15 come in, and I knew I could see the trend. They were cutting a lot of guys, American guys and Canadian guys, or West Coast guys, and bringing in a lot of their local Quebecois. And I could see what the trend was going when they brought BD in. And sure enough, I lost my job and sat around. And when they cut me, I said, I'm done. The love of the game's gone. And then as soon as I got cut, Edmonton picked me up almost right away. I went 94%. We went 12 wins in a row and a Grey Cup. So I guess you could say Edmonton brought the love of the game back for me.
Yeah, that would rejuvenate. Yes. It's interesting you mentioned the long snapper and the holder. People always kind of look at the kicker.
Yeah.
But, I mean, if you've been around the game long enough, you realize that it's a three-person operation, and those two other guys are just as critical to the success of a kick.
Absolutely, and I'm very lucky. I don't want to say it because I know he's going to hear it, and his head's going to get a little bit bigger, but Flintoff is probably the best holder I've ever had in my whole career. The guy is unbelievable. He'll catch anything. He makes a bad snap look fantastic. It's like I only look at the tee in his hands. I see his body rise up once in a while for a high snap, but he puts that ball down so fast that I feel like I'm slow kicking it because he gets it down so fast and gives me such a good look. And now we're at the point now where we know each other so well. Like even last game in Sask, the wind on that 42-yarder had picked up. And I'm looking at him. I'm hoping he's looking at me. I'm like, just because we had time on the clock, I'm like, just chill out. Maybe this gust will go away. So I could tell he was stalling because he felt it, and him being a kicker. And he stalled and stalled and stalled. He looked at me, and I had my hand kind of like, chill. And he waited till we were down to the last couple seconds till he snapped the ball. But he knows what's going on. He helps me in every way. He even said, he goes, trust your swing, man. You have enough power to get it into the wind. He knows how to talk to me now. So Flintoff's amazing. He does a fantastic job. It's the best I ever had. And then Pickett, that guy is just straight workaholic, man. He knows his job is snapping now, and he's out there before everybody snapping. On days I tell him to take off, he's still snapping. He's on walkthrough days, he's out there snapping. He takes pride in me doing well. So I owe those guys everything, and they know that I buy them gifts and take them golfing and take them, out to dinners and stuff like that. So.
Quick plug, I wrote about Mr. Pickett last week for BCLions.com.
Yeah.
The long snapper is always underappreciated. And he's done well in that role, like you said, having never done it before. Two quick ones here. When Neil McAvoy told us to prepare your signing ahead of 2022 free agency when the legal tampering period was starting, did a little research. It was our old colleague Jeff Patterson had written about you in the Georgia Strait years ago, winning what was then known as the Gibson's Finest Special Teams Player of the Week. My only part of this question is, do you get a bottle for that?
You get a bottle of whiskey and then 2 little glasses. Yeah. Those were awesome.
So you get some hardware. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And you still have those, I presume?
No, I drank those
you
real quick.
You got the glasses. You
kidding
drank
me?
that. And we're going to be shifting gears here, but you're very much a part of the marketing theme for this home game. We're dubbing it Superhero Night. I'm looking at it right now. Shaun Whyte with a cape and a firefighter's helmet. We're paying tribute to our first responders, okay? I know currently you're on a bit of a break, but the post-football firefighting career is still very much in your plans. How much pride do you take in that, and then for the football club honoring the first responders?
Oh, it's unbelievable. My dad was a firefighter for 31 years. My uncle was a Richmond firefighter for 31 years probably as well, and I got a brother-in-law, my great uncle, so it's in my family. And I did have to take a step back from what I was doing with White Rock. It was just with football and everything, I'm just exhausted, and I'm like Moj said, I'm 37-year-old vet, so I get tired easy. But but no, for what these guys do is phenomenal. Like what's going on in Kelowna, I got guys that are good friends of mine that are volunteered to go up there and fight the fires as well, and everyone's helping as much as they can.
Hey, by the way, I heard that obviously if you go to BCLions.com, you see the photo of you with the cape. I heard that Little Bird told me that was brought into a special teams meeting.
Yeah, that's great, isn't it? Yeah. Benny I've known since I was 18 years old practicing with the BC Lions, and he takes pride in torturing me. So I didn't think he had it in him to do it anymore, but of course he did it. But the team loved it. They got on their feet and chanted, and then now I got to do speeches every freaking meeting now. It's just it's ridiculous. So
we're talking about special teams coach Mike Benavides, by the way, in case people are wondering a little bit.
Oh, sorry, Mike Benavides. Right. Sorry, Coach Benavides. Yeah, he's when I was 18 years old, when Molly invited me to practice with the Lions, Benny was the special teams coordinator with Curtis Head was the kicker at the time in 03. And Marshall. Yeah, there you go. So his favorite thing was whenever they bring a pump block, you put Whitey in because I'm not even on the roster and they can hit me. So Wally goes, hey, they bring pressure, run. If they don't bring pressure, run. And then he'll turn and tell the guys, hey, he's hittable, fair game, go for it.
So like you're a pinata then?
Basically, yeah, but as 18, I could take it.
Hey, before we let you go, what should fans expect against Hamilton this Saturday?
Oh, we're bringing the fire, man. These guys are fired up. They on the bus ride and plane ride home, these guys are fired up, and you can see what happened after Winnipeg, what we did. That's what we're capable of. Everyone knows what we're capable of. We're the best team in the league. No one beats us but us. As long as we go out and prepare like we do, we ball out every single day at practice, we ball out during the game, we'll be just fine.
Shaun, thanks for stopping by tonight. Appreciate it. And good luck against the Hamilton Tiger Cats on Saturday.
Thank you.
Shaun Whyte, our guest today here at the Tap House in Coquitlam. We'll take a quick break and come back with world-famous, Kowalski's world-famous BC Lions trivia. You're listening to BC Lions on Tap on AM 730 and the Lions Audio Network.
Now, back to Lions on Tap. Here again is Bob Marjanovic.
This is BC Lions on Tap on AM 730, the Lions Audio Network. It's the Mode, Bob Marjanovic, along with Matt Baker and Nick Kowalski from the Lions Audio Network. We're coming to you from the Tap House in Coquitlam tonight, and a big shout out to Asid and his crew for being great hosts this evening. Final segment before we get out of here. You know what that means, sports fans? It's time for Nick Kowalski's world-famous trivia. People are waiting for this all the way from Mission to Montreal.
Love it. We're gonna do some Prices Right style, so we can switch it up. So
okay, it's Price is Right. Where's Diane Parkinson?
Get your Sharpies out.
It reminds me of skipping school back in the day.
Janice Pennington. Why do I know Holly? I can't remember Holly's last name. Why do I remember all the names of the Price is Right models from the 80s?
My first thought, though, when I thought of Hamilton, I just went to Brian Burnham, all those iconic catches, and I'm gonna do some Brian Burnham related Price is Right style. So we're gonna start this out. Just give you a hint that Brian Burnham played 11 games against the Hamilton Tiger Cats.
Okay. Yeah.
How many touchdowns do you think he had against Hamilton in his career? Let's write a number down.
Were you writing it down?
Write it down right now, yeah.
Okay.
In 11 games. Moj has his answer in.
This really, this is radio, right? So writing.
Well, show the camera. So Moj has 7 and Baker has 13. Moj, you nailed it. It's 7.
Thank you.
Oh, wow.
How about this? Question 2.
Yep.
Brian Burnham's single game high in yards against the Hamilton Tiger Cats.
Okay, I'm good.
Show the camera.
Here's right there. We have a camera in front of us.
176 for Moj and 166 for Baker. You guys both overshot it by a bit, but Baker wins.
No, he doesn't win anything.
It's 149.
Have you never played The Price is Right?
We'll go closest.
No.
Okay,
we're playing Price is Right
0.
rules. I'm up 1-0 still.
Okay.
Baker doesn't get a point for that.
How many career yards did Brian Burnham have against the Hamilton Tiger Cats?
How many games did he play?
11.
Okay, I'm going to go with... Okay, I'm good. All right, I've got the number.
I said 140.
No, you're not allowed to play. Go back.
Oh, you guys We'll get Sean for the last one. You guys both overshot this by a lot. That might be my bad. It's only 618.
I had 886. What do you got, Big?
860.
You guys are in the 800s. Okay,
So,
last one. We'll get
last
Sean
one.
involved in this. This one's not Hamel Tiger Cats
All right.
related. It's just his career.
Yeah.
What is Burnham's single game high in yards in his entire career in the CFL?
Brian Burnham?
Brian Burnham, yes. The one and only.
Single game?
Single game high in yards, receiving.
Okay, I've got
We
it.
got to get it to perfectly to a yard?
Well, no,
Do
it's
your
like
best.
The Price is Right. You ever watch The Price is Right?
What'd you get, 187?
Yeah, just don't go over. I got 187.
I got 188.
171.
Sean White wins.
188,
What
Bob.
was it?
188, Bob.
Brian Burnham had a 200-yard game.
What?
You little weasel.
Burnham went for
And
two.
I'm out.
Hey, no, you tied me. I'm 1, he 1, Baker 0. There you go. It's all good.
208, October 8th, 2016 at Winnipeg.
All right. That was good. Oh, I didn't mind
208,
that
that is
Price is
good,
Right.
yeah.
That was fun. That was a good way of doing it. All right. Before we get out of here, Lions, Tiger Cats, Resurrection Spirits pregame show, 3 p.m. on AM 730 on Saturday. And, of course, the Lions Radio Network. Bake, what do fans have to look forward to off the field?
Backyard Hammerfest, we're calling it this time. It starts at noon, Terry Fox Plaza, presented by Play Now Sports. There's going to be a high strike game. You know that game where you do the hammer and the thing goes. So, by donation, proceeds go to wildfire victims, the Burn Fund. So, very special there to honor that. $5 Molson Coors, of course, and superheroes. You're going to go meet Iron Man, Spider-Man, Captain America. They're all going to be on hand with the superhero theme.
All right, people want more info. How do they go about it?
BCLions.com/superhero night. Tickets start at just $25.
And, of course, you can follow the Lions on Twitter and Instagram, see some of Nick Kowalski's outstanding work. By the way, great job on the game wrap that
Pretty
you
good,
produced.
yeah.
Again, I'm talking NFL caliber stuff. It's outstanding. So big thanks to Nick Kowalski for doing all that. Work with the rest of the team as well, Liam and Bakes, and, of course,
Stephen Chang.
Stephen Chang as
Alex,
well. Gotta throw them,
everybody.
yeah, so big props to all of them. If you're not following the BC Lions on Twitter or on Instagram, you're missing out on some great content. All right, that's a wrap for us tonight. Big thank you again to Acid and his crew here at the Tap House in Coquitlam. Thanks to everybody else for showing up and supporting the cause. And a big thank you to our operator on site, Trevor Martinge, our engineer, and of course back at AM 730 headquarters, a big shout out to Sydney as well for doing a great job. You know what I'm going to tell you before we get out of here? Do what you got to do, folks. Just do us a favor. Be safe.